Well, good morning. Good morning. I decided to put a blue shirt on for you this morning, Puma, just to keep the normal status quo. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, there's Claudia.
What's
All right.
up, dude?
What's going on, Mr. Puma? I am coming to you live from spring break, and you may recognize the backdrop, a lot of our top agents, because we're at Margaritaville. And rather than not do this with you, I wanted to do this with you. So you're going to get this background, but I do have the blue shirt on, so I'm still in true spirit, and it's all good.
You still have the form.
That's right. It's all good. All right. So we're going to be having some fun today because I've got you and I chatting about today is really exciting to me because I wrote down a couple notes. And you know, when I put down some notes, we got some things to talk about because Q2, we're obviously writing into it right now. So we have 14 weeks, really, if I looked at the calendar a little bit ago. So 14 weeks really until the end of Q2. So that's April, May to the end of June. We have 14 solid weeks. And I'm going to say it, I think this is the last quarter that it's going to be crazy, right? That doesn't mean things are going to go catastrophic and bad, but you're starting to see rates creep up. When rates creep up a little bit more, demand quells a little bit, doesn't mean things are going to go crazy. But for example, Sarah McIntyre just put a new listing on this weekend. I was talking to her a bunch yesterday, and we were stretching thinking that this property will be in the 900s, right? Let's just try it. The guy wants to net X dollars, and let's just try it. So we put it on the market, multiple offers yesterday, over $1 million, right? Over $1,050,000, and escalation clause up to $1,080,000, right? And then there's another partner that says, I really want this one. I'm going to beat that. So you got a frenzy over something that's now going to probably go for 1-1, right? Which is nuts in this market. Why is this happening right now? Because money is so cheap and there's a frenzy and there's a supply shortage, right? That's a simple world. So that cannot stay forever, guys. Pay attention. This market dynamics are fluid, and this just happens to be this one moment in time when things are nuts. So let's just embrace what we have, realize that it's short-lived, and let's pretend and act as if it's all going to end by the end of Q2, right? Hopefully it doesn't, but let's pretend that it does. So we have 14 weeks to crush it. 14. So what would we do? And this is a big challenge. I thought about this a lot this morning. I was sitting here. The biggest problem we have right now is if you did, as we talk about, one good solid appointment a week. I know in this market, if you get a deal, you can get it closed. I know every one of you is capable of at least one deal a week, right? And then we're going to get to the mindset in just a second. But one deal a week is 14 deals. Average check, let's just say it's only 7,000. It's more than that, but 7,000 bucks. That's 98,000 bucks this quarter. That's $100,000 earned this quarter, and every one of you can do it. So what do you think the issue is? Because we're not going to have everybody make $100,000 this quarter. What's going to be the difference? What's going to be the game changer? Why are some going to and some aren't? And let's talk about what we can do to unlock everybody.
I think it's these two. I think it's these two things right behind me on the wall. I think there's a thing I heard recently, and it just clicked with me because I inherently feel like I've kind of done this my career, more so by luck than even realizing that I was doing it. But I heard the co-founder of Netflix say that the one thing that got him to where he was and why Netflix was so successful was simply because he learned to fall in love with the problem, not the solution. The reason that clicks so much with me is because if we fall in love with trying a specific solution to getting that deal a month, right? Or getting more listings. If we fall in love with the solution and not the problem, which is that we need more inventory, that's the problem. So if we fall in love with that, then we're going to keep going and try every possible solution until we figure out which one's going to work best for us as an individual agent to solve that problem. But if we fall in love with the particular solution that's trying to get us there and that doesn't work. So as an example, I know that there are people that are going to watch this that have heard you talk about absentee owners for the last year, right?
Yeah, I didn't say it yet.
They've tried to fall in love with absentee owners. Now, do we know absentee owners work? Is that a solution to this problem? Yes, of course it is. But they've tried it, and they've tried it, maybe not to the right degree, but they've tried it and it hasn't worked. And instead of them moving to a different solution that may work for them, it cripples them because they've tried to fall in love with that solution. Right. And so I think that's a major roadblock. We've got to get around the fact that it doesn't matter if we get committed to the actual problem, then the actual solution is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. We just are going to keep going until we find it. But you're not going to get committed to it until you have this other piece. Oh, sorry, I'm flipped. This one. You have to know why you're doing it. And if you don't have both, you're not going to get committed to the problem, in which case you're never going to find a solution. And so these two things are crucial.
Well, I think that really helps close the loop, though, because the problem is you have a why that you haven't fulfilled yet. And I hope that that starts to become very clear. And the issue is we don't have a why that's strong enough yet that creates a problem that requires a solution, right? That's what I want to. I mean, if I could really help you, like say, open up, here's a pill to make you see the gravity of the situation at hand, I would do it. This market is not going to stay, guys. This is going away. And this is the biggest gift you've ever seen in the history of the real estate industry right now. And I want to make sure that Q2 is the time that every one of you puts at least 100 grand in the bank, at least, right? Now, will that require, if you didn't put 100 grand in the bank in Q1, then we're going to have to not do the same thing you did in Q1, because Q1 has your bank account looking the way your bank account looks right now. Your efforts in Q4 and the first part of Q1, it's an equation, right? My output in Q4 plus my output in Q1 equals my bank account right now. So if that's acceptable, then do what you did again. And we love you and have fun and everything's great. But if you're like, wait a second, it's not okay. This is not what I want. I want more. I deserve more. I can do more. This is the best market we've ever had in the history of the world. Let's go do something more, right? But here's the problem. We have to do something more. If you want more, we have to do more, and we have to just take advantage of what's out there right now. So the why and the mindset is the biggest thing. $100,000 this quarter.
We lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves. As example, this is perfect since you're literally there. Could you have said, you know what? Instead of going to Margaritaville and getting a private villa with our own pool, we can just go stay at a Holiday Inn and go to the pool that's in the middle there. And Kai can bring his little cars and Rami can get in, and you guys could have, would the kids still have fun?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it the same experience as him being able to wake up at 8:30 in the morning and go right out the back door of his room there and be able to hop in their own pool? No. It's not, right? Because at the end of the day, the Holiday Inn pool probably doesn't even open until 10. And so the whole experience is different. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that the Holiday Inn is bad. You're still going, but we lie to ourselves and say, oh, it's the same thing. It's fine, right? How many times have we said that? I've done it. It's fine. It's good enough. It works, right? But these are the limiting beliefs that we're not even realizing what they actually are. And what they are is limiting us. They're limiting you. Every single time you settle where you wanted something else but took the lesser because it's fine or it's good enough or it did the job, you are creating a limiting belief. And those limiting beliefs are 100% holding you back. They hold all of us back. And we all have them to different degrees. So now is really the time, more than ever before, to take a step back, realize that we have them, realize that you're having one, and then try and push through it. And it's uncomfortable, and it should be uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden you're going to realize, wait a minute, that's not good enough. I want the private villa. So what do I have to do? What do I have to go earn to be able to say, yeah, no, we're going, but we're going to the private villa with the pool in the back, And that's the experience I want. Now Jeff gets committed to that experience. That's the problem. The problem is not selling more homes. The problem is not inventory. The problem is that he can't afford to be in the private villa and he wants to be. The solution now is inventory, and then that becomes its own little problem. And then we solve that problem. And now all of a sudden we have this trickle effect that gets us to our next level. But it starts with realizing that we're limiting ourselves.
And it starts with taking a deep breath and realizing how far you can come in 14 weeks. And I think that's a big limiting issue. I mean, between now and the end of June, what's truly possible? Like, what could you find and discover that you don't have right now? Like everything. 14 weeks by the end of June, guys, we can have unbelievable differences in our lives. Like, you can have an inventory in an unbelievable neighborhood. You can have multiple price points you've never touched before. You can have a campaign that's crushing it. You can have absentees going nuts. You could have a next door campaign launched and become known as the local mayor of your town. You could have door knocked their entire town. You could have sponsored things. You could be everywhere. You could own it, everything, in the next 14 weeks, right? And you know that. Every one of you knows that. Hey, Robbie Palm. And that's the issue. So the question is, are you going to, and do you want to, and what is the actual why? So I know, like, this is the number. Let me hit this again real quick. So 14 weeks, 1 deal a week, 14 deals, $7,000 each. That's $98,000 this quarter. And that's at an average that's a one side of a $350,000 transactions. And guys, you know, it's hard to even find a house for $350,000 right now. So that's a normal house at 350. That's $7,000 in your pocket. That's at a 70% split, right? That's what you get. Now, how do you turn that into $200,000 this quarter? Work a $700,000 neighborhood. It's the exact same work. You don't have the business now. So if you're going to go say, I want inventory, just call a different street, right? Go send postcards to different neighbors, hood, right? Go call absentees that are all on the water, right? Guys, every one of us, we work in amazing marketplaces, all Central Florida, all Tampa Bay, all Sarasota, all Orlando. Come on, guys. There's none of us have a neighborhood within 10 minutes of us that's got the price point that you want. Every single one of us has it. So there's zero excuses. The only thing we need to talk about is the actual why. Like, what is important enough? What makes it? What's the drive? What's the deal? Right? That's in 14 weeks, we could do unbelievable things. And don't be sandbagging and say, well, I know this is going to come, this is going to come, this is going to come, because that's going to limit you. What could you create that you don't even have an idea of how the hell it's going to happen? Like, say, what's the best quarter you've ever had in the history of the world as far as income goes? Let's say you made 100 grand in a quarter. Let's say your best quarter was 50. Then do 51, right? Once you stretch it and say, let me do 100. Guys, we have a ton of agents making $100,000 a quarter, right? Not a ton. We've got a significant amount of agents, top agents, that consistently make $100,000 a quarter. So Success Leaves Clues, they can do it. How are they doing it? They're talking to people, they're talking to past clients, they're doing all the stuff. This isn't the go-to class on how to do it. This is more of the mental, do we need to adjust and tweak and take to the next level inside of your head that's going to unlock you to let you say, you know what, I am good enough. This market is amazing. I've got the best brand. I've got the best company. I've got the best coaches. I've got the best leadership. I have everything on a silver platter in front of me right now. I've got the best real estate mortgage rates in the history of the planet. I've got supply and demand economics on my side that every listing I ever touch is going to be sold with multiple offers in a day. I mean, guys, it doesn't get any better. So let's just think bigger. Let's just crank the Y up and say, all right, what are we going to actually do? Make $100,000 this quarter, or make 50, or make 20, whatever it is that's going to make you happy, but get committed to it and stretch yourself a little bit. This is the time to stretch. Guys, I'm warning you, when this market changes, it's not going to be easy. There will be a time in the not too distant future when our training classes are going to be, how do you handle a listing that hasn't sold in 6 months and you need to talk to the seller about extending the listing, right? That's a whole different market, guys. And I'm not looking forward to it. We'll do fine in that one too. But right now it's like celebration time. This is like the best thing you could ever possibly have sitting in front of you. So what are we going to do to crank it up? So think bigger for a second. Like, what is the out of the park goal for you for Q2? Like, I really want you guys to think, and those watching, I want some participation on here. Type into the chat, what would be a game changer, off the chart, unbelievable thing? Hi, sweet face. Oh, you brought me something, Rami? Thank you. What is the game changer that is going to make
You know, I thought you were talking to me right there. I thought you were calling me sweet face.
No, I'm not calling you sweet face.
Now I'm upset.
You're not a cute little baby girl. Sorry about that one. But what's the game changer? Type in, guys. I want you to say, like, if you could be completely debt free, right? Whatever your debt level is, type that in. If you could have enough money saved to buy a duplex, type it in, right? If you want to buy your mom something, buy your kids something, buy your wife something, buy your something, get something for, book a hell of a trip, do something without any limitations. What is the game changer? Because guys, if you can't come up with this, then there's no reason to do anything different in this, sitting in the exact same place and have missed the boat of the best real estate quarter in the history of the industry. I truly believe that that's coming right this second. So what's the difference? Give me some of your game changers. I want you guys to think big here for a second. If you can't come up with it now, guys, we're gonna have a really difficult time this quarter getting you to the next level. Thank you, Rami. And to that, I see no chats on there. I want you guys to think, seriously, take a minute, and whether, if you don't want to share it publicly, that's fine, but write down what's going to make the difference in your world, right? Tanya, thank you. Pay off my debt and buy a new car. Pay child number one's last student loan off, Lauren. Excellent. Okay. Now, you guys don't have to push this publicly, but make sure that we quantify this number. Like, pay off debt means what? How much is that? A new car, there's a whole bunch of different ways to finance new cars. You're going to either lease one, you're going to buy one. If you're going to buy one, if you're going to buy a $50,000 car or a $100,000 car, it's really not 50 or 100,000 bucks. It's, are you going to lease it? How much down are you going to put? Do you need to put it down? There's no money down. There's a few $100s a month. There's $1,000 a month. There's $2,000 a month, right? These are the questions you need to get a little more specific on there to make that work. Tanya needs 70,000 bucks this quarter. Now we're talking 70,000 bucks this quarter. Your friends hate you because you're able to say, I'm going to go make 70,000 bucks this quarter. Most of your friends have a job and saying, that sucks. I can't make 70,000 bucks this quarter, right? Guys, realize the luxuries that we have right there. To stretch the budget for the home on the water this year, good. Lauren, buy it while rate. Why would you wait until rates are high to buy a house? Doesn't make any sense. You know better. That's why you're doing this. Brian, make an extra 20,000 bucks to supplement my wife's part-time job so she can stay home with the kids. Wonderful. That's awesome. Take 20 grand would take the pressure off and let her spend time with the kids. Excellent. Kim, 100 grand to pay off my debt and to buy a new car. Good. What kind of car? What color is it? What's the interior? What's the finish package? Have you smelt it? Have you driven it? Get your ass to the dealership and go do it so you can get your body and brain, everything aligned to go do this. Melissa's going to take her entire family to Colorado for the week of Christmas. Good. Okay. But now we're in Colorado because you can go to the Budget Inn or you can get a ski in, ski out on the slope, right? This is where it gets fun. This is when you start to say, okay, what level do I want to actually have on that one? And start digging in here. Felix is going to buy a new home. Good. So what kind of down payment do you need to have down? Do it. Right? Is your credit perfect? Have you talked to a lender? Talk to the lender. Figure out what kind of credit score you have. Do you need a credit repair? What can you do to get your credit points up 25, 30 points in the next 3 months? Talk to a credit guy. Talk to it and see what you can do, because the difference between an 820 by 800 score and a 700 score is significant when you're buying, right? So start thinking about what you can do. Put in your dream pool. Andrea, excellent. Do you have it designed yet? Where's the pictures of it? Have you engaged a pool guy? Have you had him out? Have you bid it out? Have you pictured it out? Do you have the LED lights? Do you have the waterfall? Is there a sun shelf? Is there an umbrella? Are there lounge chairs? Do you have a little waterfall? These are the things I would start doing. Because guys, everything I'm talking about is an extra 10, 15, 20, 30,000 bucks. That sounds like a lot of money, guys, but it's 2 or 3 deals. And we have 14 weeks to find them, guys. This is where it all comes down to. Debt-free, buy a big ass RV. Good. Which RV? What year? How much? Are you paying it down? Are you going to rent one first? What do you want to do? Get clear on it. 50,000, get out of debt and buy yourself a new car. Good. What kind? What color? What finishes? How much down? Are you going to buy it brand new or are you going to lease it? Right? Should you talk to your accountant and say, man, if I'm going to buy it, should I buy a bigger one? Because it's over a certain weight, I can write it off. Right? These are the thoughts I want you to start thinking about. Say, okay, what do I want? Where is my trip? Where is my vacation? Where are my options? Because money is nothing except an option. And the option is I'm going to get a new car. So if you have 6 grand, you've got limited options as far as what kind of car you can go buy with 6 grand if you're trying to buy a car. right? If you are a limited mindset, that's all you have. That's what you have. Now, if you have more money, you have more than $6,000, you have a lot more options as far as what kind of car you want to buy or lease. Is it new? Is it this? Is it that? Who knows, right? I love it. 50,000, get out. I love it. Okay, guys, I love the feedback on this one. So for those of you who are playing along, let's get it a little more quantified and really write down, open up your phone, open up the notes and say, okay, I'm going to earn X dollars in the next 14 weeks and figure it out. And then I want you to take whatever number you have right now and we're going to double it because this market is such that it's doubled. I heard some weird sounds in the background. That's little Kai putting on his swim arms. So there you go. So right that's my why is to make sure that that kid has every option he wants at his disposal later in life, right? And that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing it, to make sure that he can follow whatever passion it ends up being for him. I know you guys probably have the same for your kids. So what are you setting up for it? Did you set up a little account for them? Do they have a college thing saved up? Do they have an IRA going on? Did you set up a corporation for yourselves? Did you hire them as an employee for your corporation? Did you talk to an accountant to set up strategies? Hi, Kai. Right? And all the stuff that we need to do. And what kind of school should they be able to go to? What kind of vacation experiences do they want them to have when they're looking back on their life growing up? Right? These are the thoughts that we need to have, and this is the time to go do it. Why wait until the industry is hard to go struggle, guys? Put an extra $100,000 in the bank for your kids or your grandkids or nephews or nieces or whatever it ends up being there, right? This is the point of today, guys, is to make our thoughts clearer and our thoughts a lot bigger to figure out what we're going to actually do. So double whatever it is that you guys have going on inside of your head and let's figure it out, because there's a couple other things we need to hit today. And what I wrote down is this, two words, okay? Competence, confidence. I really want you to think about these two words, competence and confidence. At this level of your career, I don't care what level you're at in your career, think about where you are right now with your competence and your confidence, because the input of those two things is a direct result of how much money you have right now. And if we want more money, we need to increase both of these things, your competence and then your confidence. Because if your confidence is that you can go to a $7 million expired listing tomorrow, good. It should be there because we can handle it. If your confidence just said, oh shit, I don't feel comfortable going to a $7 million door doing a presentation, then we need to increase your competence, which will increase your confidence. So you now know that a $7 million door is exactly the same as a $70,000 door, right? It's actually easier. But is your mind allowing that to be the case yet? Probably not. So let's think about confidence. Let's think about confidence. So let's get that whole thing to the next level. Think about your last transaction that you just closed. Can you think right now about your last customer? Are they D's, I's, S's, or C's? Okay, there's a husband and wife involved, or a brother and sister, or two people. Who was the D, I, S, or C? Which one was visual? Which one was auditory? Which one was kinesthetic? Okay, and I'm probably going to bet that you don't have that answer on the top of your head, because likely, and don't take this the wrong way, likely you got lucky by partnering up with those people because you guys had some similarities and commonalities that in play, they were referred to you. There was some comfort there. There was already predetermined trust, which helped you have that deal. So to get to a next level, to go find 14 transactions in a quarter requires you to up your skill, right? And requires you to learn the skill and to go into neutral. Start thinking about, okay, here's a new person. Let me go into neutral. Let me figure out, are they D's? Are they I's? Are they S's? Are they C's? Are they visual, auditory, kinesthetic? What words are they using? What tonality or head do they have? What kind of rate of speech are they? What's going on with them? How am I able to connect? How can I build trust quickly in the largest financial transaction of their life? What can I do to make them say, you know what? I like this person. I trust them. Let's work with them, honey. I know we've talked to 17 other agents, but I really like Barbara, right? That's the goal. And how does that happen? It's because increased competence, increased skill, increased ability to connect and build trust faster, right? That's all I want for you. We have a million things on bagginsagents.com about it, right? You've got your the biggest key videos on there. I was showing somebody Baggins Agents the other day. After you pick your lane, you put brilliantly down there a few classes. You've got the how to connect with people, and then the how to write the perfect contract with Craig, and how to, everything's sitting right there. It's the listing presentation, the perfect contract, and how to connect with people. Those guys, that's it. That is the competence level. If you're crushing it at doing 100 deals right now, that's all you need to do to up your game to get to 125 is just think about connecting a little bit more and upping your contact goal or upping your price point. And those are the different strategies we have to go now. But I want you to do an independent evaluation of your competence and confidence for a second and realize what could get better this quarter, because all you have to do is schedule it. We have a million. I promise you, anything you want to upgrade on your competence level, we have it sitting for you in BegginsAgents.com. If you haven't logged on to that yet, you should do it because it's a treasure chest of to unlock you to that next level. So the question I want to ask, how should your buyer process? I was talking with an agent on a group call. Looks like my connection's not that strong right now, but talking to some agents on a group call yesterday and wondering why the buyers were having a tough time signing a buyer broker agreement, committing to working with this agent, because the buyers were like, well, you know, we kind of still want to work with other agents. And this agent was getting a little frustrated. Has been showing them around for a couple weekends. They missed out on a couple offers. They didn't get them, and they're driving them crazy. And I suspect that she's not the only one having this problem. That you have buyers that you couldn't bet. You wouldn't bet your real estate license they were going to buy from you. You hope they will, but they may not be completely sure. Do you think that they're cheating on you? Right? Do you suspect that they are clicking on Zillow at night? Do you think they're sneaking off to open houses and not telling you? Right? If that's possible, then you need to up your buyer game and change the basis point from the very beginning and say, okay, when I find a buyer, buyers suck right now, guys. It's tough. I know it's tough because there's nothing for them to buy. It's very limited. They don't want to put a huge escrow down. They don't want to waive their financing contingency. They don't want to waive an appraisal contingency. They're drunk monkeys running rampant. They're tired of missing out. They think they're overpaying and they're stressed out. I know. Okay. So let's just take control over it and say, listen, here's how the market is right now. Let me explain to you how I run my business. I'd love the job to interview. I'd love to interview for the job of being your buyer's agent. This is what being a buyer means today in today's market. This is how I handle it. And this is how I like to interview for the job. If you'd like to work with me, I'd be honored to work for you. If you don't want to work with me, I'm honored not to work with you. Right. But let's decide and let's commit and let's move forward. Right. This is, guys, you have to have this stance with these buyers and show that your value is not showing houses. This is where this one agent was making a mistake because the buyers were really thinking about them as the agent that they needed to talk to in order to go see a house, which means the moment they could drop you, they would. So you have to rebase it and start thinking about, are you talking about agency? Are you talking about the ability to be their single agent? Do you really explain what full disclosure, obedience, loyalty, confidentiality is? Have you explained how important your connection with their lender is? Have you said, I'm not going to show you houses until I've spoken with your lender because I need to fully understand your loan program, where you're pulling your cash from, how much money you're going to be putting into the bank, what's the whole process there? Thanks, Guy. And how that whole thing was working out. Are you going to take those steps? Right? You have to do it, guys. If you're going to get 14 deals this quarter, you can't, using Kai's word, lollygag around, right? You've got to get to it and start talking to people and take control over it, because guys, if they don't want to work with you, they don't need to work with you, and you don't need them to work with you, because you need to find somebody who's committed to working with you right now. Right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how is your buyer game right now? What is your buyer game? Is it top? Are you committed? Is every buyer in your lead source right now, do you think 100% committed to working with you for the right reasons? Are you a Jedi master negotiating badass that they're fortunate to have crossed paths with? Or are you just another agent that can show them houses? Right? Where are you? What is the mind share that you own inside of your buyer leads right now? And if you don't think it's of the badass ninja warrior contract negotiator, then you need to up that game and make sure that you start telling stories about how your colleagues and how you are doing the things that we're doing. How are we doing escalation clauses? How are we negotiating with good escrows? How are we using our lenders to write letters to help push our buyers over the edges? Guys, this is a battle. This is a battle, and you need to be armed. You need to be ready, right? This is a whole different level. And for Q2, it's just going to get worse, guys. I'm telling you, you got to get sharper, and you've got to just own it. And you've got to be known as the master in the marketplace so you get the business from all your people. That was quite a little buyer rant.
A big part of, especially with buyers though, is what you mentioned, which is setting that expectation up front. Because I've got several friends right now that I've referred out, and one in particular came back to me, and we ended up switching agents because our agent was super busy, and the communication, I think, and the expectations were not properly set up front. And so when they were struggling to actually find a property and get an offer accepted, and it was taking longer than what the buyer thought it should take, then it wasn't the market that was the problem. It was the agent not getting them the house, right? And so I think had that conversation been had from second one and saying, listen, in your price point, which is in a 220 to 270 price point, which is super difficult right now. It's going to take some time, and here's how we're going to navigate it. And having that conversation up front would have really changed their perception, because perception's reality for buyers, right? And so the second that they perceive that they're not finding their dream home because of you, they're going to look around to see what else is out there. Now we've referred them to another agent. That agent had a very clear and concise conversation with them up front, explained what she thought the timeline would be. And I saw my buddy the other night, and he said, dude, this has been much better. I feel so much more comfortable. We're seeing options. I know it's going to take a little bit, but I feel better about it. Right. But it literally nothing changed. And they're both very skillful agents. It was simply that expectation upfront, which allowed that's just getting sniped in the back. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Guy, great shot, buddy. So that it's just all about setting that expectation. It really is. Because otherwise, what do you think? It's human nature, guys. If you're not getting what you want and you feel like there's other people out there that might help you get what you want, you're going to reach out to them. It's human nature. So we've got to calm that by setting the proper expectation up front.
That's the whole game right now, is just tell them how wild the market is and explain it. I was talking to Kai's teacher. She's a first-time buyer. She's nervous. She's freaked out, right? Her personality is not a driver type and not a pushy type. She's a teacher, for God's sake. She's got empathy and a high ass, right? To be able to say, you need to you're not going to find the perfect house. It's just not going to be perfect, right, in this market right now. And your price point, you're lucky to just find a house and then hope to make it perfect and make it as decent as you can. If you can't handle the reality right now, rent, right? You can't think about things over the weekend. You can't hope it's going to be fine and externally sort it and wait for your dad to come see it. It's just not going to happen in this marketplace. So if you don't want to buy right now, don't buy right now. And I say that in the nicest way I can, but you've got to call it out and don't manage expectations. Say, well, this one might be nice. Why don't you go home and think about it? Because there's 20 other showings that day and there's 14 other offers and you're dead, right? So, I mean, are you managing the expectations of the buyers right now? Because this is not for the faint of heart, right? Maybe they shouldn't buy right now if they don't have to, but you know they should because of the financial reasons why you should buy right now. So guys, you have to change your positioning to be their advisor, their counselor, and the person that tells them what they have to do. Guys, they came to us for a reason. And sometimes you have to say, sit down, I'm the expert here. This is how it's going to work. And this is what we need to do, especially on the listing side. Let's talk about the listing side for just a second. You've got to just explain it that, guys, it's a wild marketplace. I'm watching you, Kai. So is everybody else. Keep that away from here. Thank you, sir. He's getting crafty with a little squirt gun. I'm seeing a little mischievous look in that.
He's pretty accurate, though. Like,
he
I
is.
like
That's
it.
the scary part about it. I know.
He's got good aim.
Yes, he does. So says my MacBook. Dude, that's it. Mama. All right, that's a second attack on the MacBook with the squirt gun over there. Okay, so we're gonna take that toy away. We're gonna transfer some toys, if you would. All right. So now let's talk about your listing game for a second, as I'm very nervous about my computer in the background here. So, all right. So up in the game, what is the listing process right now? Like, what's your value in it? What is our listing value right now? Is it listing a house? Nope.
It's never listing a house.
But right now, especially, it's never about just listing the house. In some markets, it's getting the exposure. Right now, it's not getting the exposure. It's about how crazy can you guide them into crazy land. Realistically, that's really the idea. How far can we push this based on your situation? Now, if you have to move and you can't play the market, let's price it so we know it's going to sell right now. This is the time to push some boundaries. We're pushing boundaries in every market that we're in right now. And the cash buyers are rebasing values everywhere across the country right now. So if you have a house, we had a house that a little one that I can't believe sold for what it sold for in Madeira Beach, non-waterfront, sold for almost $60,000 over list price, all cash, no inspections, closed in 9 days, closed Friday, right? I never would have ever bet it was going to sell for anywhere close to that. Did. So that just rebased the entire marketplace. Everybody in that neighborhood that has a house like this would be shocked, right, to know that their house is worth what it is right now. And then, I can't help it but go to, especially the guy that lives in Chicago that owns a house down there that he bought 12 years ago. He's certainly the one that's going to be very excited to hear that his house is worth what it is. So I didn't say the words absentee owners, but I'm going there in my head on that. But that's the game right now. So how strong is your listing game, and what is your listing game at the moment, and how strong are you going to actually be about it? Now, Kim just wrote it in the chat. My first day is free. After that, I want the buyer brokerage agreement and have a sit down and explain the process fully. I think you need to reverse that, Kim, and start taking control over the scenario from the beginning. And let me explain how I run my business right up front. Because look, if they don't want to work with you, let's know right now so you can go take your time today and go find somebody who does, right? So call it out and explain your benefits and sell, right? Is this buyer, are they a D in INS or C? Are they visual auditory kinesthetic? I know, guys, I keep going back to the same thing, but there is no secret in this business. The secret is connecting and building trust with people as quickly as humanly possible so they don't go anywhere else. That's all you have to do. I don't care if they're a buyer, I don't care if they're a seller, or whether or not they're your sphere or your dry cleaner or the checkout girl that you see at the Publix every day, right? That's your sphere, that's your market. How are they thinking about you? And what is your connection to them? That's the question. Because what are the three questions, guys? Can I trust you? Are you good at what you do? And do you care about me? Those are the three questions. And they're never going to change. If I just met you at Starbucks and you saw my name tag and we started talking about real estate, the first thing is this guy an idiot, right? Are they trying to scam me? Are they out for a commission, or do they really know the market, or are they just another one of the 400 million agents running around town? Or are they somebody I can trust? Do they care about me, and are they good at what they do? And the only way you can build the trust and do they care about them is for them to feel comfortable with you. The only way they're going to feel comfortable with you is if they connect. And if they connect, that means that you actually went into neutral and are listening to how they're speaking and presenting in a way that they like to receive information, whether it's from a D speed, an I speed, an S speed, or a C speed, or a visual speed, an auditory or kinesthetic speed, tonality, vocabulary, tempo, rate of speech, breathing patterns, all those stuff. We can go super deep on it, but that's the secret to this game, guys, is that. So we need to up the game on that one. So now to Kim's point, she ends her statement here. Her problem is she's new to the market. She doesn't have a buyer. Good, right? Because guys, that's every one of you. To get to a next level on Q2, you don't have a buyer to sell. You don't have a seller. You don't have a buyer. You need to go find them. So Kim and everybody in this company is in the exact same boat right now. How do you find new business? Because you need new business. I don't care what your pending log looks like. It's not 14 deals probably right now. So you have to find more business for Q2. So let's go tactical for a minute and say, what is the first in order of importance from your perspective? And then we'll banter back and forth on this one for a second. Or in order of importance, how do I find new business right now that will close in Q2? What would you do?
Well, I don't want your head to get too big, but I would probably start with absentee owners because I think, listen, we all know, myself included, and I'm not even an agent, know multiple people who would buy right now if they found the perfect home to do so and are in a position to do so because most people have equity in their homes. They're in, good situations financially for the most part. So I think for me, going after buyers right now is somewhat a waste of time. Of course, we need buyers in our pipeline, but we all know them. I think they're easier to reach. Sellers are the more challenging, and obviously absentee owners are in my opinion, the lowest hanging fruit because those are people that truly can take advantage in an up market, right? I was just my parents were in town this weekend, having this conversation with my dad because he's like, oh, our house is worth more than it ever has been, but where would we go and buy, right? Because I'm going to buy if, the market's super high. And I said, yeah, but your home's worth more too, because the market is super high, right? It's all relative. The only time that you're truly able to take advantage of that is if I own a second property that I don't need to do anything with that cash at the moment. I can cash out, take advantage of the high market, and then sit on that cash if I wanted to until there is a turn in the market. And then in which case, maybe I reinvest, right? But everything is relative. And so when values are high on one side, then the values are high on the other, right? And so it goes both ways. So for me, focusing on absentee owners makes a lot of sense. At the end of the day, though, going back to what I said in the very beginning, that's just one solution, right? It doesn't have to be absentee owners. So the problem that we are facing is simply, how do we go and get more inventory? That's it, right? Now, absentee owners are one solution to that program, but we can't fall in love with the just one solution, because if absentee owners do not work for you, it's going to cripple you instead of motivating you to go find a different solution. So
let me pause.
Absentee owners are a solution. Yep.
Pause that for 1 second, because this is the deadly spiral in this business right here. Every single thing works.
Yep.
Okay. There's 0% chance absentee owners won't work for you. 0%. If you call every person that owns a piece of property that doesn't live in it and the zip code in which you want to operate in, it is physically impossible for you not to have inventory by the end of this month, right? Physically impossible. 0% chance. Bet you $1 million. There's 0% chance that you cannot find a listing if you called every absentee owner in your zip code. It's impossible. Somebody in that marketplace could use the money for something else and will go, oh my God, are you kidding me? You got that for the house down the street from me? Hell yeah, I'm out. I'd rather put it in Bitcoin, right? There's somebody who's going to say that in your zip code, okay? Now, the real thing to say is, if you're not really going to do it, or you're going to half-assly do it, and you're not going to take the time to find their numbers, and you're going to call 6 and 6 of them say no, and you're going to get disappointed and start crying, then you need to find something else. But that's not giving it a real try. I'm sorry, I've got to call a little bit of bullshit on that one. We got to go.
I agree. I think my point is, everything works. It just won't all work for you, right? Because as an individual, you have to be self-aware enough to know that if you are, and I still think this comes back to being committed, because if I'm super committed to the why, then I'm going to push through the uncomfortableness.
That's right. That's right.
But putting that aside for a second, if I know that I am simply not going to commit to calling every absentee owner, because I don't like calling people, and I'm not going to sit on the phone, and I'm not going to do it, then trying to force yourself through that to call 6 people just to get discouraged, which is then going to cripple you from doing anything, then that is not a good idea, right? Is my point. Then you need to find something that you are willing to commit to and go all the way on, right? And so maybe that's new construction. Maybe that is door knocking. Maybe that is creating a social video every single day and hitting the groups and going all in on that. There's so many ways that you can go get business. Do I think absentee owners are probably the easiest? Yes, I do. But you have to be self-aware in this process and know, am I actually going to do it? Am I going to put in the work necessary to make it work? We all know that if you do push-ups, your chest will get bigger. How many of you are push-ups every day? Right? So we know what to do, but we just may not actually go do what's necessary to make it happen. And so that's more my point, is you have to be self-aware. For me, the starting point myself would be 100% on absentee owners. And then I would also be being the social angle, just because I know it and I know that it works as well. Local groups work very well, but you have to be consistent in those groups.
And you've got to go into the whatever it takes mindset, right? If you're committed to X for Q2, then it doesn't matter what it takes. If I said I have to figure out a way to make $200,000 in Q2, or my arms are going to fall off, right? I promise you, I'm going to find a way to make $200,000 in Q2. right? There's nothing that will stop me. I will be tired. I will wake up early. I will stay up late. I will do things that are uncomfortable because I do not want the outcome that would come of being associated with not making $200,000. You guys follow that? So what would I do? Whatever the hell I could do, I would do it all. I would call every absentee owner. I would knock on every door. I would call every old expired. I would send auto networks out to my entire sphere. I would send a text message to every person in my phone. I would DM everybody I had on Instagram. I would follow hashtags for my neighborhood and my town, and I would comment on everything that happened. I would interject myself into every conversation about real estate and the local Facebook groups and pages and around me. I would be everywhere nonstop to make sure I made 200 grand. You guys agree with that? There's nothing that would stop me. It would be impossible to hold me back from finding 200,000 bucks in this quarter. Nothing. There would be not one. I don't care what you tried to do, would not work. I would get it because I'm committed to getting to that number. The difference is, are you committed to getting to that number, and are you committed to doing stuff that's not comfortable? Because if you didn't make whatever you feel like making in Q2 ever before, you're gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna have doubt, fear, and anxiety. Drunk monkey's gonna be rampant. It's gonna say you don't really need that much money. Stop it. Why would you do this? Why would you face this rejection? Why would you not spend the time with your family? Why would you do the things that you're doing right now? You don't have to. Take a chill pill, relax. It's okay. Relax. You don't need it, right? That's going to be nonstop, constant battle in your head right now to say, shut up, I'm going to go do it. Watch this, right? Right? You got to create the why. It's got to be stronger
You've
than
got to
any
have
excuse.
the why, and you got to have the why, and you got to have belief that what you're going after, you truly can go accomplish, right? You have to believe it. That comes back to the confidence portion that you were hitting on earlier. You've got to have confidence that you can and will accomplish what you're going after. You know, there was, I don't know if you know the story of the mile, but the Roger Bannister up to 1954, it was believed by scientists in the entire world that it was humanly impossible to run a sub 4-minute mile. In 1954, Roger Bannister sets the goal to run a sub 4-minute mile, and he does so by 1 second. Keep that in mind. Up to that point, physically impossible to do. Can't do it. Not possible. He does it. Less than 6 weeks later, his record is broken. Less weeks after that, that record is broken. And so on and so forth to this point where it's been over like 60 or 70 times that record has been broken. And the point is that it was impossible, right? It was a mindset that was, there's no way you can do that. But one guy believed that he could, and his accomplishment gave confidence to every other runner that, wait a minute, oh, that is possible? And literally just like that, a switch is flipped and that record keeps going lower and lower and lower and lower. And so what was once impossible isn't even remotely even impressive. Oh, it's impressive, but it's not even a record anymore, right? And so the point being, guys, we are in a blessed state where pretty much anything you can imagine in real estate has been done, right? Jeff, you sold a ton of real estate when you were an agent. The impossible the records have already been broken. So now if anyone has accomplished what you are trying to accomplish, then that should tell you it's possible. But you have to believe you can go do it. And you're not going to do it unless you're committed. That's it.
That's right. So here's my request. Take some time this week and go into your calendar like right now and block off half an hour. That's it. Of isolated time that you could say, what is my game changer Q2? What does it look like? Forget how, right? Forget it. I'm just talking about the why. If at the end of June 30th, you're sitting around exhausted, I hope, saying, oh my God, I did it. I did it. I can't believe it. I actually did it. And that sense of pride comes across. A huge big ass smile comes on your face. That feeling of just knowing I can't believe I just did this. I accomplished this. Wow. Right. That's the issue. If you can come up with what that looks like, write it down, you won. Okay. And like to the point where the hair on your arm stands up and say, this is what I'm going to accomplish in Q2. I have no clue how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to accomplish it. I know I'm going to talk to people. That's the one thing I do know, but I don't know who it's going to come from. I don't know how it's going to come, but I know it's going to be the end result is going to be the most amazing Q2 I've ever had in the history of my life. And this is what I'm going to have accomplished, right? Those of you who will do that, I promise you magical things are going to happen this quarter. And I can also promise you those of you who are not are going to be exactly in the same spot you are right now in June. And that's a shame in the best real estate market we've ever had in the history of the world. It's just not acceptable. Right? So I wish for you the best quarter we've ever possibly had. And it all comes down to you can. And yes, you can. And yes, you are good enough. Yes, you are enough. Yes, you have us having your back. Yes, you have the best brand ever. Yes, you have the best leadership team ever. Guys, we do. You look around this group, every one of us cares more about you than you probably do. Right. And we will give everything we have to make sure that you accomplish your goal for this quarter. So I want you just to think bigger and to have the best goal you've ever had in your life, right? Because it's never been, I'm not going to say easy. It's never, yeah, I will. It's never been easier than it is this quarter to make money if you go to where the smart time is spent. And the smart time is to capture inventory and watch it sell, and capture inventory and watch it sell. And you're going to attract your own buyers for your own inventory, and you're going to watch it sell, and you're going to double side things along the way. And that is the focus. If you want to make a sprint for Q2, then that's my suggestion for you. If you want to maintain doing what you're doing, we love you for that. Keep going. But those of you who want the push, this is the time to push. It's exciting. So I rattled through that list. I'm going to hit it just for a quick second. If you haven't done Auto Networks yet, do it. If you don't know what we're talking about, go into Beggins Agents and search Auto Networks and watch the trainings on it. It's very simple to do. And we have the network set up in the offices. You can just buy the software. What is it, 149? $149 for the software?
Yeah.
For 190? What? Right? If you don't want to spend that, you don't even want to go through it, then just message everybody. What do you need to say? You know what you need to say. In some form and fashion, it's the what's going on in your world. Who do you know that needs to sell? Houses are out of control pricing, and are you even considering thinking about moving this year? Right? That's the short version of it. We got scripts everywhere though. Direct DM everybody and messenger everybody. Get onto LinkedIn, talking to people. Go door knock. Hit the absentee owners and start thinking about. You know, I love absentees, guys. I can't not just love it right now. And think about where the biggest buyers are right now. Canadians, Cubans, UK, Brazil, Germany. Start thinking about that when you're going through your absentee owner sheets and your communities and your zip codes. When you start to see something normal or something recurring, a pattern, let me know. There are 5 people in the last 2 months from Michigan bought on my street, right? Is that a trend? I don't know, but it certainly means that Michigan likes my street, right? So I don't know what that means, but there's certainly something there to think about. Do you think they might have friends that might want to buy something in here once they realize that their friends are freezing their asses off and they're sitting in a pool and right down here? Think about this. Just look for patterns. It's interesting. And the point of that is aligning with agents as a referral source too. So if you notice a lot of Michigan people are moving down and they're all coming from a certain city, might it be not a bad idea to go talk to people in that marketplace through Century 21 on Workplace and see if you can connect with a couple people. Right, reach out to that, just other thoughts. There's so many things to do. And then the last thought is really get your schedule in tune for Q2 and time block it out the right way. And those who are the most successful control their schedule, right? Mike, you know that, and Craig, you talk about it all the time too, is control your schedule. And the morning is where the money happens. The morning is where the magic happens. The morning is where everything happens because you can't get distracted by anything else in the morning. So, my schedule, right, still is that any money generating item that I need to go do happens before lunch. That's just it. I do 0 maintenance during the morning. I do 0 lead follow-up during the morning. I do nothing except for create new business in the morning. That's just it. After lunchtime, there's a 1 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, and a 5 o'clock appointment, right? That's available to be had, but the morning's mine. The morning is for generating business. That is it. That is it. That's not follow-up. That's not appraisals. That's not inspections. That's not file maintenance. It does not happen. It is money generation. Now for you, if that schedule doesn't work, then 2 to 3 is your money time. Doesn't matter. You independent contractor, come up with whatever you want, but own your schedule and time block it out the right way. Right. The best thing ever.
Put it in your calendar. Use your calendar. Put it in there, because I will tell you, that one thing I got way better at over the last couple of years. Craig really inspired me to do it. Is just literally, if it's in my calendar, it's going to get done. If it's not, to the point where Like I even put in now reminders to like text my wife, like let her know that I'm thinking about her, text my kids, like because I get busy, right? We get really tied up. And so everything that I need to do during the day is in there, whether it's a 5-minute task, a 30-second task, an hour task, it's in there. And that way I know, and I'm looking at that obviously coming Sunday night. What do I have this week, right? What are my crucial things? And so when you block out that time for specific things, now you're going to live by it because it's really hard not to. Those calendar reminders are powerful, right? There's a lot of times where I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then all of a sudden my phone's like, hey, idiot, you're supposed to do this now. And I'm like, God, okay. And I'll do it, right? Because I'm getting that reminder. Now I'm holding myself accountable via this device. Leverage this. This is a tool. So 100%, I think the calendar is a big thing. Schedule is a big thing.
If you have the why.
I do want to point out too, though, someone put in the chat, where can I find a do not call list? So I think this is your brain working to find a logical excuse to not do something. Don't worry about the do not call list unless you're using auto dialer, which you shouldn't be, which is a bigger issue. The DNC is not a major concern. Most of the language revolving around the DNC list is if you are a call center and you are using auto dialing systems to call for telemarketing purposes, then you cannot call anyone on the DNC, and so it should be scrubbed accordingly. If you are a one-on-one where you are physically punching in the keys to call someone one-on-one, that does not apply to the DNC on a violation perspective. So there's no one who can sue you over that. They're not going to. So just keep that in mind.
Right. And also you're being super contextual. Like when you call up and say, hey, Mr. Puma, I see you live in Ohio, and I noticed you have this house here in Reddington Shores. I just have a quick question for you about it. Right? Are you bothering them? Really? It's a contextual thing. I'm calling you about your house on 123 La Hacienda Boulevard here in Indian Rocks Beach. I got a specific question for you. You guys even remotely considering selling this thing? I've got buyers lined up for days, and market's crazy. The house is worth more than ever before. Any shot you guys would consider selling this thing at all? Right? That's not really going to be called out for that. It's just not. So yes, technically you should not be calling the do not call list. So let's put that on record there. Be contextual and talking to people. Can we text person who is on the do not call list? You're not supposed to.
Yeah. Listen.
Official answer is no. You're not. You're not supposed to call. You're not supposed to text. You're not supposed to reach out.
The technical answer is no. Anyone on the DNC. However, again, if you are physically typing the number one-on-one and in relation to something. So as an example, for sale by owner puts his phone out, right? I can't use that phone number to call him about something else to sell him. What I can use that phone number for is to call him specifically about the property, because that is what he's asked for by putting his phone number out there. Does that make sense? So it's all about context. Context is super important. If I am calling in relation to something that they have that I'm interested in, for example, their home to sell, because I have a potential buyer who's very interested in that property, that is not a true violation of why the DNC was created. The DNC was created so that I can't call Jeff and try and sell him something without Jeff saying he wants that to be sold. Right now, if I call Jeff because I have someone who's interested in Jeff's house, and I say, hey, Jeff, have you ever even remotely thought about selling? Your home's worth more than it ever has before. I've got someone who's very interested, who's been scouring your neighborhood. Would you consider an offer? That's completely different than if I call Jeff and be like, hey, Jeff, your car warranty is running out. Have you ever thought about buying one? Completely different, right? So just understand the nuances of it. Obviously, from a high level perspective, the safest thing would be to never call anyone or text anyone ever. But that's not logical and it's not practical. And I wouldn't let it hold you back. Don't use any form of auto dialing, no, or auto texting.
Right. So that's right. And so when you use the absentees, let's just be specific on this one, following the line of the law on this one. Do not see DNC calls you're not supposed to call. So I would not call them, and go around and go hit the ones that are, and then do not call us to save yourself some grief. Right. That's just the official answer on that. and don't call back if they tell you to stop.
Yes,
That's for
that is
sure.
100%
Apologize.
true. Good call, Deb.
So good. So guys, we hit a lot today. In summary is think bigger, guys. That's never been more perfect of an opportunity for you than what we're sitting in right now. And the only thing locking you back is this, because you can look around inside of our company of people achieving greatness in every level, in every market, at every price point. It's there, right? And it's there. You're here too, right? We've got your back. So whatever you want, you let us know. Reach out to us as management team or do whatever you need to get you to that next level, guys. But think bigger, guys. This is it. This is the time. This is the time. We're going to be looking back when rates are 5% and we have a normal real estate market again going, Jesus, man, I really wish I would have taken better advantage of Q2, right? So I want you to sit back and be thinking, man, I'm so glad I took advantage of Q2. Check out this bank account. I can just now pick up a couple of duplexes, look at this cash flow I have. My kids are set. Everything's good. I've got life is easier than it was as a result of you kind of pushing yourself through the end of Q2. So that is it. So that's what I wanted to say to you guys. And I'm on spring break this week with the kids, but I'm available if you guys need, shoot me a text and I'll be around. But you might hear some rides in the background. So that's what we're doing. But have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I want to thank you guys all for your time and attention. And I really like that backdrop, Puma. We got to get these all somewhere so we can steal them and use them. That one looks good.
Yep. Yeah, I can send them out.
Cool. All right. Chat with you guys later. Puma, I'll give you a call later. And have a wonderful day, everybody.
Sounds good.
Bye.